Good evening and welcome to your 5th video in the series Maths Revision Outside the Classroom. This covers the topics stem and leaf diagrams and box plots and is suitable for years 8 through to 11. Right, let us start with a stem and leaf diagram. This is really like a sort of bar chart made up of numbers rather than blocks. What we do is we first come up with a stem. Now say we're dealing with a set of exam marks. The numbers are usually between 1 and 100. So these are normally 2-digit numbers, and even the 1-digit numbers could be called 08, say, or 07. So we've got 2 digits. We call the stem the tens part, and that would normally take the values 0 through to 9 when you're dealing with marks. And then you have the leaf part, which is the units. So the stem represents tens and the leaf represents the units. You always put a key alongside the diagram which explains just that. So in this case 4 line 5 would indicate a mark of 45. If you were dealing with decimal numbers, then say 4 line 5 might indicate 4.5. If you were dealing with pounds and pence, then 4 line 50 would represent £4.50. Right, when we've decided on our stem and leaf, we put our stems in order, covering the range of the data, the tens part, and the leaves we then put on one at a time. The diagram is a horizontal diagram, so the leaves spread out horizontally. And we make sure that the leaves are in order at the end. We could first of all have an unordered diagram and then redraw the diagram with the leaves in order. This then enables us to work out averages from our stem and leaf diagram. So we have a line of stems on the left and the leaves on the right spreading outwards horizontally. The key is at the bottom or alongside the diagram. If we wish to compare two sets of data, such as males and females, we might have the females, say, with leaves on the right of the stems, and the males with leaves on the left of the stems. So the females goes horizontally out to the right, and the males horizontally out to the left. Again, the leaves should be in order, and a key should be stated. When we have our key and our diagram completed, we can then read off averages. It's very easy, as the data is in order, to read first of all the range, which is the highest value minus the lowest value. Remember that you've got to include the stem as well as the leaves. So 8 line 5 might be your highest value, and that would be 85. Your lowest value might be 0 line 9, which is 9, so your range is 85 minus 9, which is 76. Your mode is the most frequently occurring number. So you look to see which leaf occurs the most commonly against the same stem. So there might be, say, 3 leaves of a 4 alongside the stem of 5. So this would mean the mode was 54, if no other number occurred more frequently than that. Again, there may be more than one mode. Then it's easy to find the median. The median, of course, is the middle number when they're arranged in order, and they're, of course, arranged in order already on the stem and leaf diagram. So we take the total frequency, we divide it by 2. If we get an odd number answer, we round it up and just count the leaves until we get to that value. If we have an even number answer, we know there are 2 middle ones. So we go through the leaves until we find the 2 middle numbers, and then we average that pair of values to get the median. We can find the quartiles similarly, the lower quartile being a quarter of the way through the data, so we just find a quarter of the total frequency, whatever the value is, round it up, and read it off from its position in the stem and leaf diagram. And the upper quartile is 3/4 of the total frequency, so we read that value off likewise. Then we can work out the interquartile range by doing the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So that's stem and leaf diagrams. When we've got all this data, we can then make comparisons. We can compare, for instance, males and females, if we have both of those on the same stem and leaf diagram. One, remember, on the right, the other on the left. So we can compare our medians, and we can compare our ranges, we can compare our interquartile ranges, and also the modes. The stem and leaf diagram is not really ideal for calculating the mean. It's better just to find the mean while the data's in a straightforward list. When we've done a stem and leaf diagram, we can follow it up with a box plot. This is particularly useful when we wish to make comparisons. A box plot consists of a single horizontal scale that covers the range of the data, and then we have a box to represent the interquartile range. We plot a point for the lowest value, we plot a point for the lower quartile, we plot a point for the median, we plot a point for the upper quartile, and we plot a point for the highest value. We then draw the box between the lower quartile and upper quartile with a straight line also drawn vertically downwards from the median. So you've got a box with a line somewhere in the middle of it. You've then got two whiskers. We call them whiskers. They're just two horizontal lines that come out from the box that join the lower quartile to the lowest value and the upper quartile to the upper value. So you've got a rectangular box with three vertical lines and two horizontal ones, and two whiskers coming out horizontally to the left and to the right. When you wish to compare two sets of data, for instance males and females, you can draw one box plot above the scale, the other box plot below the scale. Then it's very straightforward to spot differences between the highest and lowest values, differences in range, differences in interquartile range, and differences in the median. These can then all be commented on. Right, well that's it for our video this evening. I hope you found it useful. Now is the time to go and practice some questions on stem and leaf and box and whisker. Until the next time, it's good night.